Total War, one of the best RTS franchises of all time, was what we once said about it. However, since the recent debacles of Creative Assembly heading into, I would say, a freefall dive of epic proportions,
I started, like many, to think, are there other options?
Do I really need to say anything about Manor Lords? It's recently had its release date coming in March of this year. Not only have we heard so much about it in the last couple years, but we have actually been able to play it in its demo version. Back in October of 2022, we got our hands on this title, and it blew me away. Whilst we only got the city building portion, the reason I'm putting it on this list is because it does definitely have similarities to the Total War series. How? Well, that's when we get into the RTS mechanics. This has full troop control, granted on a much smaller scale than anything Total War has to offer, with historically authentic troops from militia to man-at-arms to just equipping peasants with spears or bows. But it is all within this incredibly detailed RTS system that I think goes even further than what Total War ever has. Now, there is discussion at the moment whether this is actually a replacement for Total War. No, it is not. And for one simple reason. Manor Lords' focus is not on this RTS battling system. Yes, you can set troops in waypoints. They will adapt to the terrain, whether it's fighting up or downhill, or whether archers can fire out of forests. There is insane mocap animations that create some of the best looking duels that I've seen in an RTS game. But that's not the main focus. It is still the city building portion, but that has so much more to offer. Oh, look at him drag that dead carcass, that's so cute. Look at the detail. This guy's skinning and the pieces falling off. Okay, well, his friend's coming over now. Beautiful. Bits are just starting to slowly... Okay, mate. Okay, look, this is still the demo version, so there's still some issues within it, but my God. And now look at them. There's still... The detail has gone for good. I really just love the being able to build through these roads, and look how beautiful they tie together. I mean, you can see everybody doing their own thing. You can add people to buildings, you can take people away. When you want to change people's jobs, that you can do that so easily, and they will do it naturally. Everything within this game just feels so smooth and immersive. There is nothing that takes you out of the experience. Every little bit, from taking resources over to a building, adding or subtracting people from jobs if you need more help in labour, putting down roads and as the rain falls, puddles building up on them, looks so good, and it doesn't feel jarring whatsoever. Oh well, there's some more people come to our village now, so hopefully we should have enough resources. We've got some people on wood, we've got some people on the food, hunting at least. These houses should be up in time. We've got to get these done for winter, otherwise we will die. Much like other city building games, that's just how it works. If they're stuck out during the cold, they will suffer from some permanent frostbite. Okay, well, everything seems to be going so well. We need to put a hunter on there, because otherwise my people will start to starve. The attention to detail within this city builder is unlike anything I've seen before. The way that roads are placed down and they adapt to the terrain, something that I thought looked good in the reveal, but now has just been evolved to it's seamless. Being able to place down buildings that will morph and dynamically change within each other. Being able to put plots in the back garden, whether it's for crops or, of course, animals. This will change during the seasons, and your villagers will harvest them and they will take them to the mill. They'll be made into bread and they'll be sold on the market. This living and breathing world that can be evolved throughout your Manor Lords experience. Because you are, after all, playing as the Lord. City building is a huge part of it. But when we scale up to go with interacting with other villages and settlements, even the lords and the kings of this land that you can go to war with or you can trade with, whether you want their resources or you want to just take what they own, that can all be done. As far as I know, this has just been added in as a little way to look around your manor. Of course, this is the demo, so there's not all too much added into the game. We've got our firewood cutters there. Lovely. We've got a tavern here. Anyone in the tavern? Oh, you've got a big axe, mate. You have to chop some things. No one's in the tavern at the moment. That's a bit of a shame. Anyone in here? Hey, hello? No? Okay. Brilliant. Fantastic. But what we're going to do is we're going to head up the main street. Oh my word, you just teleported. Here is the main street. Does it look like a main street to you? No, not really. It's got a hunter's cabin at the end. No one's doing some hunting at the moment. Oh, no, you've just been hunting. Hello, friend. Excuse me. Coming through, lads. Jesus Christ. I wish I could get a cart and sit in it. We'd love to go a bit faster here. I love people that just go and take the firewood and they put it in their own houses. Like this guy over here, he's bringing firewood, he's going to put it in his house, and it's just so beautiful. This is going to be a much bigger scale game than I think people are giving it credit for, and whilst yes, it isn't going to be as focused on trying to take the crown off Total War, and I don't think you should expect it to do that. I do, however, think it is going to fill that lackluster hole that we've had for a long time. A really good, solid, historically accurate, and more importantly for me in this case, incredibly detailed and beautiful medieval game where you can play in pretty much any way you want. Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail. This is actually one of my favorite games in this franchise, and yes, it is a franchise as we'll get onto in a little bit. But this game didn't release too long ago now. It released actually in 2021, and it is the tactical war gamer in the Ultimate General series. It is set during the naval campaigns, American Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars, and it pretty much nails that perfectly. In terms of the single player campaign though, it is rather lacking. The main focus of this is the battles. So if you like Total War's campaign style, this probably isn't for you. But if you like the huge RTS battles, you are going to get nothing better than this title. I mean, it is a gorgeous looking game, by the way. You're able to take control of these huge armies, anything from naval fleets to on-land armies, whether it's cavalry or musketmen. You have all different types of troops that you'd expect from the era, and they do have a good focus on historical accuracy. So if that is what you favor, you're going to love this. Now, this is a much more small-scale game than something like a Total War, but you're still getting a good amount of detail. Now, I can't zoom all the way in, which is a little bit disappointing. But hey, it's about as good as we'll get from a general Total War competitor. And I don't think they're doing such a shabby job. Clearly not, by the way that there are a million games within this franchise. Oh no, we are under attack, sir. Double time, double time. I said. Can we get double time on here, please? Yes, there are so many games in this franchise at this point, and I don't want to go through all of them in this video because we'll be getting a lot of similarities. Because this actually started off with naval action. It is now a free-to-play version of Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail, but they kind of just expanded it into a full game. The reason I wanted to add this game in is because it kind of gives us what we've been missing without Empire or Napoleon coming in for a rehash or a remaster. But if you like the American Civil War, if you like Gettysburg, that's there for you. More recently, they've got the American Revolutionary War that is coming out with a full game as well. Go and head over to Jackie Fisher's channel if you want a full rundown of everything that's coming in with that title. But that does have a campaign with a campaign full map and the battles, so you can experience a full Total War version within this series that has a development team that know what they're doing and they're passionate about it. These games have been incredibly successful in the RTS space in most recent years, and I really hope that they carry on with it. Let's just sweep up. That last volley. Oh god, straight into their backs. So these are the battles, I guess the version of historical battles, but they're kind of just set pieces, because the game, it doesn't have the same kind of single player as many of the other games in this franchise. Their little feet, look at their little feet go. You can see in the bottom left that we've got the percentages of cover, morale and condition. These are all important things to take note of. Oh god, chill out lads, because we do not want them firing on my men. Let's get our sailors up the flanks, and you guys can be reserves. Okay, we are okay. This is possibly not the best idea here. I didn't know they were going to have dragoons. That's okay, we're okay. We have rear flanked their dragoons. Okay, they're starting to melt. This is good, this is ideal. We should be able to take them out pretty well. Yep, there's a rout in their dragoons, exactly what we needed. We are currently being attacked by these regulars on the side, but the strongest points of Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail is probably its sound design and its graphics. It's absolutely gorgeous. As you will see, we come up with quite a few bugs within just the short time that I was recording footage, but I've spent some time playing it when it released back in 2021. There is a great amount of varied maps. I love the ship landings, especially the custom battles where you're able to take ships, and of course they all have their own crewmen. Then you can disembark and they will send landing craft to fight on land, and you can have your Total War style battles like that. Now that's something that Total War has done, but I don't think it's ever really refined, and they have done it here. Of course, you'll come across issues as, unfortunately, the developers have kind of ditched the game at this point. So if you're not happy with it at this point in time, it's not going to get any better. But I can recommend this title to anybody that loves naval games, anything in the Age of Sail, and those battles on land. I mean, firing at ships from cannons in a fort, it is so satisfying. There is one custom mission that I probably got on screen that I absolutely adore playing over and over again. Yeah, take that. Take that. I can still hear fighting going on over here. I think there's just a glitch. Now, one thing that I have been told is that the developers have actually stopped developing this game almost entirely now, which is unfortunate, because it means stuff like this, the sound bugs, are not going to get fixed. It's kind of epic. They've kind of put a lot of effort into this. Way more than I thought. I don't really know what to say about Ancient Warfare, the Han Dynasty, because I'm kind of stuck in the middle of it. This is almost the pinnacle of a Rome 2 clone that's come out recently. Coming out in September 2023, it is a Chinese knockoff? I don't know. It's like a big strategy RTS thing, but with more RPG details. The campaign map, once again, is not quite as big as Creative Assembly's franchise, yet the battles go goddamn hard. Come on, boys. Let's take them. So here are our armies. It looks a little bit like the startup screen actually to Tiger Knight Empire War, if you remember that. But it's time to see what these real-time battles are actually like. Oh my god, this UI is awful. Oh my god, I can't see anything. And the music is so intense at the same time. Go away. It's so loud. Hello, lads. Look at you. Oh, they do actually look kind of cool. They've got like a stylized outline, or I think that's just a buggy shadow. There's also that option. Right, archers, we're going to take you. Okay, well, we can't shift click. They do make a cool sound when you click them, though. Okay, I do like this. I like the design of how this looks. I will say yes to this every time. You're actually going to be my flanky boy. And the music is starting to grow on me as well. It's not too loud right now, and it's building up in a pretty cool way. So yeah, they do have like a stylized outline. I think it was supposed to be shadows, but we'll give it to him. We'll give it to him. Oh my god. You talk about arrow trails in Total War. I love that. Look at them just standing. It's awful. God, that is so awful. These things are absolutely huge, and they get bigger and bigger as you go on through this campaign. Of course, there are custom battles that you can just play as well, but the campaign, whilst it has its issues, and we'll get onto them in a little bit, does take you through the biggest battles of the Han Dynasty in ancient China. And I couldn't really think anything more. The graphics are okay, to say the least. The gameplay in the battles, I think, is quite fun. It's pretty fast-paced, way more fast-paced than any of the other games on this list. You will find, especially early on, you'll be chugging through armies time after time, especially with the huge amount of archers that you have. One thing I would definitely say is the campaign, and in general, the UI in this game. It's horrific. It is so bad. Yet that aside, I don't hate it. It is a little bit strange, and there's a little bit of controversy around it where some of the codes come from. It feels eerily similar to everything that we had in Three Kingdoms Total War. So if you like that title, you'll probably like this. The other good thing is it's cheap as hell. Currently, it's about £12 on a 10% off sale on Steam, which is nothing, about $15. And there's a good amount of content. I would skip it if your main love in the Total War series is the campaigns, because this really leans towards more like a Mount and Blade style campaign, an RPG setting where you can upgrade your generals and your troops. Of course, each general has their own skills and assets that you can put skill points into and they'll get better, so on and so forth. But the main thing for me are the battles, the huge scales in different terrains with different varieties, whether it's on land or, of course, in sieges. My God. Whilst the graphics are nowhere near anything that would Total War, and the animations are almost non-existent, I think it makes up for it in scale. Uh-oh. Can you guys stay at the back for a little bit? Yeah, don't come forward just yet. Oh, they're coming. Oh, they're coming. We collapse them so fast. Oh my God, they just get destroyed. This is not even a competition. I mean, I know this is like the start battle, but the pace on this game is mental. Watch out, swordy boys. Right, we're going to have to send swords on them. Spears. You come over here. You come over here. There's going to be a lot of friendly fire if we're not careful. Send them in. Archers, you just demolish them. Going to bring some swords around the side as well. Beautiful. Well, that was a pretty good win. Oh, it's just some intense music to slaughter the last few archers that are just bugging out here. And actually, despite its clunkiness, for being £14 and for being a competitor to Total War, something that Creative Assembly genuinely needs at the moment, this is probably one of the best offerings along with the Ultimate General franchise. They've done a fantastic job here, on the most part. Imperial Glory is such a cute little game. I don't think that was ever what it was intended to be, but god damn it, I love this. It came out in 2005, so in the height of where Total War was kind of gaining its popularity. And this was the Napoleon Total War before Napoleon Total War. Look at these battles. Do they not remind you of what we used to have? Okay, you can tell the budget is nothing of what the modern day Total Wars were, or even the Total Wars back in the day. But don't get me wrong, for a game made in 2005, it's still such a large scale. Also, the sound design is great. UI is fantastic, and whilst it's probably not quite as good as the competition, i.e. Rome 1 back in the day, it's still up there. I think the battles do feel a little bit more scarce, mostly because they're very barren wastelands. Even the Waterloo map is just 2 buildings on a flat plain. And don't get me wrong, Napoleon Total War's version isn't the best thing in the world, but it's better than this. Also, the AI is horrific. They will just run out of buildings. They won't defend anywhere. They'll just charge at you with cavalry or even cannons. They will try and melee fight you with cannons. So don't expect a good AI experience. The campaign is pretty bare bones and basic. The flashing on the screen is just any recording software that tries to touch this game anymore, because it's so goddamn old. You can move troops around in these kind of, I guess, early Total War style. You remember in Shogun when there were more board pieces than actual armies, but you don't really get much indication of where they can go or how far you can move them. The diplomacy is basic, to say the least, so most of this is building up armies and trying to get into battle as soon as possible. Speaking of battles, the ship battles are something else. Trying to control ships in this is one of the most hellish things I have ever done. They do not respond very well, but you know, if you get some good shots off, which you have to manually do, you have to manually press the fire button, like no Total War game ever. Okay, maybe some Total War games. Then you might be able to sink a ship. It was interesting, to say the least. I think the naval battles are probably its weakest point. The land battles, however, that's when it starts to get a little bit more fun. You can control your troops much like Total War, clicking on them, right-clicking and dragging to set their direction. However, they are locked into columns or lines or squares. You can't really morph their formations much more than that. Cannons have to be unlimbered. That was something that took me a while to work out. So I was sitting there just looking at Hougoumont for a good 10-15 minutes, but we got there in the end. There isn't really anything in terms of destruction. I think one of my favorite parts of Napoleon or Empire is having building destruction and being able to blast bits away with cannons. That's just a really cool aspect of the game, especially in naval battles, seeing your men scurrying around on the deck as the mast bits fall to pieces, men jump overboard or get, this sounds dark, drowned as the boats capsize. This is pretty much Napoleon Total War light. That's probably the best all-round review I could give it. The game now sits at mostly positive on Steam. I think that's just basically because it's an incredibly old game. I would probably call it a gem, but it is definitely not better than Napoleon Total War. If you want to play a game in that setting, I would definitely go for that. This has a very limited single player. The battles itself are pretty hard to complete because of the lackluster AI, and it's pretty fast paced. Units will crumble instantly or just rout, and the game will crash. Something that you cannot fix now because there is no development for it. Just go and play Napoleon Total War. These guys also made the Praetorians games, just as a side note. Yes, we will do an Age of Empires clones video, don't you worry.